Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Void Bros podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about David Parker Ray, the Toy Box Killer. So everyone strap on and get ready.
That's strap in.
Because it's about to get dark and
I
twisted.
had to make sure that you meant strap on.
Yeah.
You know what he said.
It's about to be dark and twisted.
I was like, strap in?
And also, before we start, viewer discretion is advised because today's episode is very graphic.
To the human ear.
To the human ear, exactly.
We're going to paint pictures in your brain that's going to just skull fuck you.
Pretty much.
That's disgusting. Giving the content.
Well, how's everyone doing?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's
It's
what
already going?
That's what we're doing.
Wow, you fucking really just did that to me. All right, then.
It flowed pretty well.
You know, you're not wrong.
How's everyone doing?
I'm learning new shit, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm going to hear about people that get murdered. It's always fun.
Oh, I was talking about. I'm excited to learn about people getting brutally murdered as well.
Yeah. You guys want to know some interesting facts that I found this week
Yeah,
before we get into some really dark stuff?
give them to us.
So one, I saw some video on like TikTok, and I didn't know that Adolf Hitler invented Volkswagen.
I just saw that somewhere too. Probably, I think it was a TikTok on Instagram, but it was a TikTok
Now I feel left out.
I'm driving a car
made by Hitler.
made by Hitler.
How fitting.
Not too long after talking about Hitler.
Yeah, not
you
too-
love the World War
Yeah,
history.
not too long after talking about Hitler either. And I just realized I'm driving a car made by him.
That's what you got for number 2.
This not really blow your mind. I don't think that. I'm sure you're familiar with what OnlyFans is.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know OnlyFans creators made $3.9 billion in 2021?
People love feet pics, man.
Yeah, that's $3.9 billion. Dude.
I just want to know who the fuck pays for this shit.
Didn't Bella Thorne make like multi-millions from it? Like
Was
in one
it
day?
that or was it
The Bad Baby
Yeah,
from Dr. Phil, the Catch Me Outside girl. It was like Catch
You
Me
know who that
Outside. How
is?
about that?
Yeah. I know who that chick is. Yeah.
yeah. Just today I was actually reading about some scientists found a fish like 2,000 feet. Like you can see in the fish's head.
Like just the head.
Yeah, just the head.
But there are fish that you can see completely through.
I know, but this is just the head. No. Some new species of fish.
It is pretty awkward that we've discovered more of space than we have the oceans.
We're finding
How do
new.
you let something like that fucking happen? You know more about things that aren't on this planet than things that are.
Exactly. So,
Oh shit, I'm kind of off.
Different.
Dude. I gotta put the
yeah, you don't
glasses
even
on.
have the
You gotta put the
sunglasses on.
sunglasses on
Shit.
indoors.
There's Mojo.
All right, so let's just go ahead and get started in some darkness here. David Parker Ray, the Toy Box Killer. David Parker Ray was born in Bralem, New Mexico on November 6, 1939. He was born to parents Selick and Natty Ray. His family was poor, so they lived with Natty's mother. And a small ranch where his father was an abusive alcoholic who directed his abuse for both his wife and kids.
Sounds
So-
like a real sweet guy.
It's
Real
a
fucking sweetheart.
The white tank top. Staying
Chill.
white tank top.
yeah, the wife beater look. I don't know if they were rocking that back in 1939.
Why not?
Maybe just
So
no shirt.
Cecil left David and his family when he was David was only 10. After the divorce was actually finalized. David and his sister Peggy would go to live with their grandparents on their father's side in the mountain area, New Mexico area. His grandparents were also very strict and abusive too.
And there's just no escape.
Yeah. I also saw when I was doing some research, there's some examples of like David really got most of his abuse from his aunt, who forced herself onto him to have sex with him at a young age. There's something about.
When the fuck did his aunt come into play with all this? Visiting his grandma?
Well, I mean that's his dad's sister, so they
Just like
It's the
touching
family
it behind the
cookout.
scenes.
So in school, David was a shy and awkward kid. as shy and awkward kids are, he was also bullied. So
I was kind of shy, and I'm still shy and awkward. Shit, I didn't get bullied like that.
well,
I did.
I'm sorry, Mason.
he spent a lot of time.
I really mean that.
He spent a lot of time on his own, drinking at a really early age. It was during this time he developed a.
What are we considering an early age here? You know the fucking like legal drinking age in Europe.
Well, yeah, I think this is
Like, put that
1939. So I would say he's probably in high school. I would say probably about the time to start drinking. Or considering with what his life has just started from, he probably started drinking at a pretty early age.
What is the actual drinking age in Europe?
Pretty sure 16.
I think so. That's what I think
I
I've
thought it
heard.
was earlier.
It was
than that.
16 or 18. 18. No, 18 is New Mexico. Like Mexico,
Oh,
Mexico.
I thought it was
I think
super early on.
I think 16 is in Europe, or like
Yeah, it's 18.
18. Okay.
What the hell?
Some countries like Austria, Denmark, Germany, Portugal, Spain, still 16. So I guess it just depends where you're at.
So David, during his time of drinking and being alone, developed an addiction to sadomasochism.
The fuck is that?
It's pretty much BDSM. That's just the scientific word, is sadomasochism. I can't even say it, so I'm just going to say BDSM because everyone should know what that is. So it's reported that his sister Peggy discovered a collection of erotic photos of bondage in BDSM, and also drawings. That's what he does too. So he's drawing like people already tied up, gagged.
So he's a misunderstood artist.
I guess you could say so.
That's what I'm getting.
So after school, David worked as an auto mechanic, and then later he joined the Army. There he also worked as a mechanic, but he received an honorable discharge from the military.
What for?
Just honorable discharge. I guess he just didn't want to do it anymore. It's probably around this time where he started getting like really good fantasies about like practicing BDSM on people.
People need to get fucking hobbies, man.
I've also read, so that's pretty much all about his life. So now it comes down to the really, really dark shit. Like, yeah, there's really not much to tell about his
Sounds like a sex-crazed murderer.
his life before. There are some reports of that he started killing at the age of 14. I was reading something where he tied up a homeless lady to a tree and beat her to death at the age of 14.
Shit.
You can't fight off a 14-year-old?
I don't know if this story was true or just fabricated by David Parker Ray, but
He like to talk a bunch of shit.
yeah. David Parker Ray is known for really just kidnapping a lot of sex workers. He has a lot of accomplices or people that will help him do all this stuff that I will read later on. So here's where things get really, really dark. I want you to read a video transcript. So when he goes to kidnap these females, most of them could be prostitutes, people that just help him. It's also known
Let me
that
see this here.
it's also known that David is also in a supposedly satanic cult. So he's a satanic leader. So if you want to go ahead and read.
You just want me to go piece by piece here.
Yes. So what Greg is about to read here is a videotape that he plays before doing anything to the victim. I based all this pretty much off of the video thing. The whole videotape has not been released due to how graphic it is, but there is bits and pieces of it out there that you can actually listen to. But this is the beginning, about 10 minutes worth of what he says into it.
This is it right here.
Yep.
Holy shit, Connor.
This is
Okay.
This is word by word what he says in the videotape.
He says he opens the tape with hello.
Well, it's describing what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm just
So
fucking with you
Yeah.
guys.
he narrates
All
what
right.
he's doing.
So this guy starts it off with, "Hello, bitch. Are you comfortable right now? I doubt it. Wrists and ankles chained and gagged, probably blindfolded." Whoa.
so yeah, just the first opening line kind of describes what kind of shit we're gonna be getting into.
follows it up and says, "You are disoriented and scared too. I would imagine perfectly normal under the circumstances for a little while. Least you need to get your shit together and listen to this tape. It is very relevant to your situation. I'm going to tell you detail why you have been kidnapped, what's going to happen to you, and how long you'll be here. I don't know the details of your capture because this tape is being created July 23rd, 1993 as a general advisory tape for future female captives. Now you are obviously here against your will, totally helpless, don't know where you're at, don't know what's going to happen to you. You're very scared or very pissed off. I'm sure that you've already tried to get your wrists and ankles loose and know that you can't. Now you're just waiting to see what's going to happen next. You probably think that you're going to be raped, and you're fucking sure right about that. Oh my God, holy shit, that did not feel right to say. The interest is in what you've got between your legs. You'll be raped thoroughly and repeated in every hole you've got. Wow, I should have brought fucking mouthwash, dude. Fuck. You got soap in there?
I got some hand soap.
Because basically, you've been snatched and brought to us here to be trained and used as a sex slave. There's fucking more? Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, just this break here. So we'll pause right here to just kind of talk about what you just read there. He didn't start making like documents about this, so he could have been killing prior to all this. This is one of the main like beginnings. Like he drugs the people and then takes them into his toy box, which I'll go into detail of what the toy box is. But this is the intro that he plays to every victim that he's ever kidnapped.
He plays this tape for them.
Yes, it's kind of like Saw. Like you want to play a game, pretty much.
What year was this?
He recorded this in 1993.
Yeah, July 23rd, 1993
is when the tape was recorded. So he could have been.
No, I fucking read that.
He could have been. So before this videotape was made, he was definitely doing rape and possibly murder prior to all this.
Yeah, that just did not even feel right.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Like I said, there were some reports that he started killing at the age of 14 or 16 with that lady that was tied up and he beat to death. Yeah, so if you think that was dark, it's only going to get worse. It is really, really going to get really worse. Like, I almost, like, physically I was getting almost, like, sick to my stomach doing this research. I think I bit off a little bit bigger piece than I could chew because I forgot how dark and twisted this guy is. The stuff that he was, like, when he was abused as a child and he dealt with a whole bunch of, like, probably getting raped. Definitely being abused by his grandparents and his dad. So he probably got his ass beat a couple times.
A couple.
You can only imagine what kind of psychological stuff that does to a person.
Yeah. I have like this urge to try to like crack jokes, but I'm like, fuck, all this shit's just terrible. Jesus.
Yeah, any joke that you think about cracking probably is going to be pretty
terrible.
pretty dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, let him fly.
So yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So this is a continuation. Sounds kind of far out. Well, I suppose it is to the uninitiated, but we do it all the time. It's going to take a lot of adjustment on your part, and you're not going to like it a fucking bit, but I don't give a rat's big ass about that. It's not like you're going to have any choice about the matter. You've been taken by force, and you're going to be kept and used by force. But all this amounts to is that you're going to be kept naked and chained up like an animal to be used and abused anytime we want, any way that we want, and you might as well start getting used to it because you're going to be kept here and used until such time as we get tired of fucking around.
Yeah,
okay, with you, and we will eventually, in a month or two, maybe 3. It's no big deal, my lady friend. And I've been keeping sex slaves for years. We both have kinky hang-ups involving rape dungeons, games, etc. We found this is extremely convenient to keep 1 or 2 females captive, available constantly to satisfy our particular needs. That's fucking disgusting.
So that's just a little intro to the beginning. At the end, when he says "we both," he's referring to his girlfriend, Sydney Hetty. She's going to be his main partner in crime here with this. They both do the raping and torture.
I mean, you showed us a picture of him, and he looks like Mr. Rogers with a mustache.
Yeah.
What does this lady look like?
So she don't look very much any better. This is when she was arrested.
And she looks better than that fucking guy, though.
I don't know if that's just like some cutout like behind the bar thing, but that was like the picture. This is actually kind of recent.
Could you imagine if they actually did mugshots like that? It looks so fucking stupid.
Actually, I do believe that this is actual mugshot because I forgot that she is still alive. I'll explain that later in the thing. All right, so now we're going to get to what's in the toy box. I have some pictures up here that show what the toy box looks like on the inside.
This doesn't look like a fucking toy box.
So the toy box is actually double wide semi-trailer or single wide semi-trailer is what the FBI report said. David spent $100,000 making this toy box.
I'm going to guess he got this from being a car mechanic.
No. He worked in a so in this town that this takes place, it's called Elephant Butte, New Mexico. He worked in the Elephant Butte National State Park as a park ranger. I don't know how much a park ranger really makes, but if he's spending $100,000 on making a soundproof semi-trailer, it is stocked full with torture devices.
You could be dumpster diving behind Spencer's or I don't know other shops.
I didn't know what kind of fucking stores he was talking about dumpster, but like Spencer's, I mean, they have like a ton of dildos and pocket pussies and shit.
You don't want to get lost in the back of Spencer's.
Yeah, you do. Back at Spencer's is fucking awesome.
I got most of this detail from like the FBI itself. Like they have a website about.
You called
this.
the FBI?
No, I didn't call the FBI.
Nice.
They have there's like people that worked on this case that have posted the documents of what it actually was. So the trailer was sitting on wooden blocks and it didn't have any windows as a normal semi trailer would have. There were 4 wooden steps that led up to these double deadbolted steel reinforced doors.
Did this thing just sit stationary?
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah. So it's literally like I'm gonna say it's pretty much like the way that they described it. I don't think they really had a name for it back then. It was just a freight container.
Okay.
So just pure steel sitting on some wooden blocks.
A couple steps going up to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, about the size of like a normal semi trailer, just a little bit shorter. One of the shorter ones.
Okay.
So when you walked into, on the immediate left side of the wall, there were 2 signs. One of the signs had the red block letters that said Satan's Den. So it was known that he was a satanic leader. He practiced Satanism and all that good stuff.
Perfect.
And on the other sign was a handwritten letter that said, "I'm rather busy. Would you piss off?" That's probably my favorite sign there. Just, would you piss off? Piss off.
A little busy here.
So, right next to the Satan's Den sign.
Sounds like he had a sense of humor. At least a little bit.
Everyone likes someone with a sense of humor.
Well,
I don't know about that one.
This guy's sense of humor probably was a little dark.
Yeah, I'd say this guy's words coming out of my mouth were just
So he's away from
fucking unholy.
He's away from the misunderstood artist part of his life. Now he's just crazy. Now he's just crazy.
Very much
He's
so.
just a fucking maniac, yeah.
So right next to the Satan's Den side, the Satan's Den sign was a tall tripod for the time of the high quality RCA camcorder pointed. Like it's like a pretty expensive camera for
I remember
1990s. RCA camcorder.
No, the store.
Yeah. They also made stuff
You
too.
remember the store?
Nope.
Yeah.
You've never even been to a fucking Kmart, have you?
No.
Of course.
Or
God damn it, Mason.
So this camera recorder was pointed towards a large gynecology chair that was made of it had metal electric prods on it, and it had a dozen of zip ties on the built into the chair.
Why would he use fucking zip ties? Wouldn't you use something that was a little bit more durable?
Well, there's a lot. There's like at least a dozen of these red zip ties.
I just think leather belts is the way to go.
Yeah,
I also want you to keep in mind here that David is actually in his late 50s at the start of the toy box starting up.
So what the fuck was this guy's problem? Was he just not getting laid or what?
Well, you gotta think from all the abuse that he suffered at such a young age. They're
not all there.
So the town that he lives in is like literally like has like 3,000 people, and it's literally probably the butthole of America.
No, we live in the butthole of America, Connor.
This is worse. They got no grass. It's fucking desert.
Dirt.
Just dirt.
Dirt and sand, that's all you get. One water well there, the whole town uses.
Hot as balls.
For the record, I'd like to say that of Mason's sodas, he picked fucking dirt is better than corn. You know what we make here? Well, I guess we don't really make it, but the earth makes it.
That's what this thing's known for.
So,
okay, those
take dirt.
Rocket Fizz sodas are weird. All right. The corn, then it tastes like corn, and then smell like corn. It would just tasted awful.
If you had to say exactly what it tasted like,
I can't describe it. Mainly because I don't remember. I just know
I don't like ranch, so
it doesn't taste like ranch.
I wouldn't drink the ranch soda one. Like I can only eat ranch if it's on a salad.
You think they just like whipped these unholy concoctions together and was like, yeah, fuck it, this tastes nothing like what it's supposed to, but oh well.
Yeah, a little explanation for what we're talking about. I got 15 bottles of Rocket Fizz soda, just different flavors, so that's what it is. I got one's dirt and one's corn, so that's what we're talking about. So
and the dirt's better than the corn.
Yeah, the corn was awful.
Some fucking how.
All right, so
the ranch will make you vomit.
So David is in his late 50s during the start of all this. On the ceiling above the gynecology chair was a large mirror with a RCA Victor TV.
The mirror was on the roof?
Like right above the gynecology chair. So the victim, when she wakes up, that's all they're looking at is the mirror, looking down at themselves.
So I would like to say something about the mirror on the ceiling thing. So everyone always thinks it's like the most ultra fucking Chad sexy thing that you can do is have a mirror on your ceiling. But because of how they're held up there, which is usually like glue, the middle will start to sag and then it just looks like a fucking funhouse mirror. So like if you go one way, you and whoever you're fucking doing are going to be about this fucking big. And then when you roll over to the other side, you're going to look like you weigh 1,000 fucking pounds. So don't put a mirror on your ceiling. It's not hot. It's not sexy. It's just fucking stupid and it's a waste of money.
Well, back then it was probably popular.
Oh, yeah. Because they didn't know how much they fucking sucked yet.
So,
wait, did you say his chair had electric?
Yeah,
like,
prods.
Like
yeah.
electric prods in the chair. So it was, he built this gynecology chair.
It's not nice at all, Mason.
Did I say nice? Oops.
Oh, shit.
So the RCA Victor TV, it was positioned in angles that
with RCA.
Well, that was the big brand back then.
Yeah.
It was positioned so his victims could see everything that he was going to do to them. So the camcorder is like live projecting to the TV, and that way the victim can see what he's about to do to him. So continuing up the left side of the trailer, there's a black robe with a red cape attached to it. This is yeah. It's like the Super Raper, or
oh my god,
no,
something like that.
Oh my god,
no, the Clip Master,
the Clip Commander.
I think Toy Box Filler is good enough. I don't think we need to make a name for him.
Huh?
You ever seen Jay and Silent Bob, the Click Commander?
No.
Oh my fucking god, dude! You guys got to check that out.
But before our time.
You guys are actually a little bit older than I thought you were. To be fair, I thought you guys were like 18.
Nope. Oh, we're in the ripe 20s.
Fucking great.
Next to this black robe with a cape, his superhero outfit, there was a clipboard hanging ahead. The FBI kind of compared. the FBI probably was the brightest back then. I'm going to say. I compare this clipboard to like a roll call, or kind of like just a reminder list.
A sign-in sheet.
You know what? Pretty much. So this roll call list is victims that he's kidnapped. There's between it says that he's kidnapped 93 to about 97 people.
And these are all in national parks.
No, this is all people that
I'm so fucking good.
No, he works at a national park. But
He doesn't grab
in the small town of Elephant Butte, there's a lot of prostitution going around then. A lot of drugs, like I'm talking hardcore drugs, meth, heroin, cocaine. Weed's not really a hardcore drug, but weed was one of them. So a lot of cartel activity down there.
Weed's not a hardcore drug.
I wouldn't consider it a hardcore drug.
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Good. Stay drug free.
And
I'm gonna try.
The nose grows.
So on this list, there was no names, but just dates that were supposed to be like kidnaps, and there was notches next to the dates that assumed how many times that he has raped a victim. So I'm gonna read this just short little list here that I just kind of accumulated here. So on February 7th, 1994, 27 times. April 16th, 1994, 33 times. July 3rd, 1994, 28 times. On September 9th, 1994, 41 times. March 6th, 1995, 33. March 8th, 1995, 53. June 10th, 1995, 32. August 4th, 1995, 42. September 25th, 1995, 33. November 15th, 1995, 39. January 27th of 1996, 51. March 2nd of 1996, 38. May 7th of 1996, 32. July 3rd of 1996, 38. October 4th, 1996, 43. March 16th, 1997, 46. And September 23rd of 1997, 33.
I'm gonna make a joke that I might have to cut out, but it seems like he had some favorites.
All right, I just want you to keep in mind here. So on this list of May 8th, 1995, 53 times.
Initially, when you were talking about this, like I thought, like I was initially thinking of like just normal sex, not like using toys and all that. And I was like, who can hit completion 53 times in a fucking day? Your shit would fall off.
Well, you gotta remember, like in the videotape, like the what you read before we opened up with what's the toy box. These people are kept, like these girls are kept here for like months.
Jesus. It's like my response every time. It's just fucking awful.
But here's something I want to point out. So this was like just the front page of the list. This list goes pretty on and pretty back further a little bit. I want you to note that in May 8th of 1995, he raped a girl 53 times, and literally almost a month later, on June 10th, 1995, he raped a girl 32 times. So this poor girl who was kidnapped on May 8th was raped 53 times within a month.
Just by him or him and the girlfriend?
It could be him and his girlfriend, but what the FBI is thinking that is right now is just him. So that poor girl was raped 53 times within a month.
Jesus, dude. Oh my God. I couldn't even fucking imagine.
And that's literally just a month. Like the next biggest one was in January 27th of 1996. It was 51. But then the next person, or the next date right below it, was March 2nd.
And then guys wonder why women don't trust them.
It's because dirtbags like this. And trust me when I say this, it's still getting worse.
You found more shit worse than this?
It's gonna get way worse. And since you guys didn't read any of this prior to this, you're in for a fucking...
Well, this gets worse? Shut the fuck up.
This gets way worse.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm gonna continue telling what's in the toy box, and then I'm gonna go into some details of the rape happening.
Oh my God.
He kept documents of this, like full videotapes of it, of everything. So after that list, on the right side of the wall was was covered with items that he used for torturing victims. He had surgical instruments, numerous large sex toys, electrified clamps, and cattle prods. He also had a wooden device. This is where it's going to get really, really bad. A wooden device that kept women still while they were raped either by some of his friends or his dogs.
So, about the dog thing. I was living with my grandma at one point in time, and she was obsessed with the movie Coal Miner's Daughter. Are you familiar with this movie?
Nope.
This is a movie about Loretta Lynn, old-timey country lady. She was pretty fucking cool, though. However, she watched this movie a trillion fucking times. It's over. I was done hearing the song, so I was like, all right, I got this. So my mom and her girlfriend used to go to the sex shop, and they'd get these little fucking baggies, and they'd have random shit in it. Well, one day, they brought it home, and there was one of them, there was like a sex tape in there of a fucking dog and a woman. And like I said, I got tired of that Coal Miner's Daughter. I said, fuck this shit, dude. So I threw that porn up in there, and like that, she fucking flipped the script and about killed me. I thought it was bold. You ever put porn on for your grandma?
Thought it was bold.
No. Oh my god! I think you're talking about you put it on for your mom and your girlfriend.
No, I put it on for my fucking grandma.
Your grandma, like, grandma, watch this dog fuck this lady.
No, she thought I was putting in Coal Miner's Daughter, dog.
Oh my god!
And I said, fuck that.
Holy shit!
So I threw on some porn.
On some porn. Take that, grandma.
You get tired of watching a movie fucking 80 times a day. I guess
Throw some porn in there.
Throw some porn in that.
All I
bitch.
knew it was gonna piss her clean off. She was kind of like a lady who like really didn't like to talk about that shit, and it was just really unfortunate that she had a grandson that loves to talk about sex.
I gotta-
maybe after this podcast, you're probably not gonna like talking about sex.
No, I'll always like talking about sex.
Go ahead,
But
make some movies.
I got not a story not near like that. My little sister had this Dora CD that she would watch like 20 times a day, and I got tired of hearing Dora 24/7. And I had a air vent in my room, and like it went down into the floor. So I took the disc when no one was really around or paying attention. I dropped it in my vent, and it was like a good like 10-foot vent like drop. So there was no way if anyone was getting it out. And my mom and my little sister was trying to watch it one day, and she's like, "Mom, where's my CD?" And then my mom was like, "I don't know, Mason, have you seen it?" I was like, "No, I have no idea." And then 7-8 years after we moved out, I was finally like, "Hey, you know that movie, Dora movie you like to watch all the time?" Like, yeah, I dropped it down my vent in my room.
I'm honestly surprised that like you had heat coming out of that vent, right? At one point in time, I'm surprised that like CD didn't get hot or anything. Like, you
Like,
didn't smell
melted.
it, or, yeah.
No, it was always intact. I always looked down at it and was like, "Yep, it's still there."
You just wanted to make sure she didn't get that fucking movie back.
You
Get like a
yeah.
magnet on some string, get it out.
What would you have done one day if you looked down that vent and it was gone? You're like,
That would be
motherfucker.
freaky. You think you get rid of it, just pop back up one day, like Robert the Doll.
why was I about to just make that same reference? All this shit ties in together, man.
So back to the story. So this wooden contraption, it wasn't so much wood. I've seen when I was reading, it went from like wood to metal, but it's pretty much like the old times where you like put your head in a hole and hands in the hole and like get a piece of wood stuck over it and you bolt it on both sides.
Yeah.
I don't know what era that was in. I would
It
assume
was I believe it was like the late, probably all through like the 1600s. It was like really popular because of like all the sailors and shit on the oceans. Like that was like a huge punishment back then because like you can't do shit.
So that tape that we were talking about at the beginning,
You're not going to show us this.
I'm not going to show you the tape, but I'm going to read more of it.
Okay. Use the
And
words.
this part of the tape, if you have a weak stomach, I advise probably skipping ahead a little bit because this part is what made me sick to my stomach.
How long was this tape?
It was a good 45-minute long tape. This tape was played in court in front of a jury and all the victims' families.
Why are you going to document this fucking shit? Like if you're trying to get away with it, why does everyone document it?
There's some sick, twisted people, and this part of the tape It may have been longer than 45 minutes.
Longer?
Yeah, it was like a long initiation before shit happened. It was literally like some shit straight out of a Saw movie. Like, you know, how you have the tape recorder that tells you, like, you know, you did this wrong, and this is what you have to do in order to fix your wrongdoings. Well, it's kind of like the total opposite. So
Yeah,
like,
but his reasons got kind of off. Like, some of his reasons, I wouldn't say they were necessarily good in Saw, but like, there was like one of them where like a chick was like addicted to drugs. He's like, all right, fuck it, bitch. You like drugs, you're gonna die. I think he went a little bit off there a little bit.
keep in mind, this is where it gets fucking totally brutal. Stop me whenever you feel like you need to. All right. So in the tape, he said, "You'll be taken into my living room and put on the floor on your hands and knees." And again, all this is being played in court, just so we know. So you'll be on your hands and knees, naked, with your wrists and ankles at your hips. So it's pretty much like a fucking hog tied, pretty much. He said, you'll be strapped to a metal frame that will hold your body in position designed for a doggy fucking your ass up. In the air, sex organs exposed, your tits hanging down on each side of the metal support bar, knees spread about 12 inches, positioned familiar to a bitch dog in heat, right in the middle of the floor.
Certainly has a way with words.
Went from artist to poet.
This is like I cannot describe you how bad this is. Like,
Oh, you don't have to.
oh boy.
It's doing it for itself.
So it continues by, so we can get sat on the couch and in the chairs and watch. I'm going to rub canine breeder's musk on the back of your neck and all on your sex organs. And I have 3 dogs, and all of them male because I don't need any pups. One of them is a very large German Shepherd that is always horny, loves when I bring a girl home to let him fuck her. I let him in the house, he'll start to sniff around you a little bit. Within minutes, he'll be mounting you, and there's about a 50-50 chance of which hole he gets his penis into. But he doesn't seem to bother him whether it's your pussy or your ass. His penis is pretty thin, goes in easy, but is about 10 inches long. And when
You're talking about David Parker Ray.
No, this is all about the dog right now. So his penis is pretty thin, goes in easy, and it's about 10 inches long. And when he gets completely excited, it gets a hell of a knot right in the middle of it. And now I have slaves tell me that it feels like they've got a baseball inside of them. It doesn't take long. He's going to hump you real fast for about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't take
Just
long.
fucking wow.
Yeah, and I've seen things where it's not so much of a 50-50 chance. It's like a 20-80 chance. Most of the time, it's probably going to be in the ass because that's what David really enjoyed watching and doing was fucking all these female in the ass.
What's people's obsession with anal?
He goes on and on about this for a while. Finally, the tape ends with this. He says, basically, I just want to become familiar with your sex organs and the size of your holes. All girls are different. During the course of your day, you're going to be raped several times, and there's no big deal. I swear to God. He's Christ. That's the wrath of the second day. After you get totally familiar with all the rules and procedures, you are going to get down to the nitty gritty. A lot of it will not be very pleasant for you. You might as well get used to it. His fucking grammar in this, like, really sucks. Super bad. Like, me trying to read it makes almost no sense because I want to put actual words that make sense in the fucking thing. He says, you might as well get used to it because it's going to be like that for a while. Eventually, things will settle down a little. Then we'll just take it day by day. Well, I believe I told you about everything. I cannot predict the future. I cannot predict changes of the procedure. But if the tape is being played for you, I have assumed that it is still reasonably accurate, and I can only give you the following advice. Be smart and be a survivor. Don't scream. Don't talk without permission. Be very quiet. Be docile. Be obedient by all means. Show proper respect. And he ends it with this. Have a nice day. That's the very end of the tape there.
How the fuck does he expect them to do that?
It's it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was pretty graphic.
Obviously, there's more of that tape, but I'm going to assume that the rest of the tape that hasn't been leaked or given to the public is probably way worse than what I have read to you there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
That's
pretty
a
much
sick fucking bastard, yeah.
that's pretty much what the toy box consists of. Is a bunch of sex toys that probably isn't fun to have, and just the fact that he would let his dogs get a little piece in. I also read that during the dog sex part that it is a lot worse going out than it is going in.
How does he fucking know this shit? Does he ask these people? Does he have it done to himself? You think he was fucking his dogs?
I don't think he was fucking his dogs, but it wasn't quite pleasant.
Yeah,
I could have went into more depth of all the people that he's kidnapped and raped and tortured. I could have went into really, really detailed depth on that, but I'm not gonna lie, my stomach couldn't handle it.
I mean, it's definitely.
Honestly, that's also what took me so long to try to do all this research, is how graphic this is. Like, there's some other podcasts out there that's covered this, and they go into really detailed graphic stuff. Honestly, when I was doing research, it was really hard to find true information about this.
Yeah, you said that when you were looking into like his early life, there wasn't much of shit on him.
Yeah, it literally, like, most of the stuff that I read, it was literally like, sum it up, probably a paragraph and a half, and then just jumps into the toy box and like what he did in there, who all he got. I'll just kind of wrap it up at the very end here. David might have not been arrested if it wasn't for a girl named Cindy Vigil. If she did not escape her horror show that she lived for 3 days.
So she escaped out of the toy box, and
Yes.
where exactly? What was this, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, or
It was
nearby a town?
This is pretty much in like a trailer park. I mean, there's people around, but people knew David Parker Ray and just knew not to say anything to the authorities or anything like that, due to what consequences would come to them or their family. So he could have been stopped a long time ago, but no one had the courage to say anything. But not a lot of people knew what was actually going on. A lot of people just thought that it was a storage shed or like a little like clubhouse. A lot of people didn't know that he was a satanic cult leader, so a lot of people just probably thought that there was practicing
Rituals going on.
rituals and stuff in this trailer.
Well, I guess like my thing is like when he killed these girls, what did he do with them?
I'll explain that in a minute too.
You fucking always do that to me, man.
Well, it's part of the story. It's gotta go. So here's a little, just quick little summary of how Sydney escaped. Ray was at work doing his park ranger job. Hindi, his girlfriend, which was accomplished in all of this, stayed back to watch her. But Hindi accidentally leaves the keys in Sydney's range of reach. Sydney reaches over the table and grabs the keys, and she's able to get her hands free.
So who left the keys there?
His girlfriend. Yep. So when David's away at work, working a normal life, she's running the toy box and running the whole operation. That's when she gets to have her fun. She did rape a lot of females too.
How can you be that fucking weird and find someone who's literally
That
exact
that's
same
messed up.
kind of crazy psycho fucking maniac weird?
Well, I will tell you what, in a future episode, I do want to cover Fred and Rose West. And if you haven't heard them, that is a lot of child abuse, and it is definitely almost about as bad as what we're talking about right now. It was almost like fate wanted them to be together.
That is truly disgusting.
After Sydney was able to free her hands, but right before she was able to get her legs free, Hindi found out and was going to try to stop her from escaping. She even smashes a lamp over Sydney's head. But Sydney was fucking determined to get out of this.
I thought you were gonna say she was like the Terminator.
No, she was fucking determined to get out of, to escape her nightmare. She was able to grab a nearby ice pick and stab it into Hindy's neck.
And he died and she didn't?
I'll explain how he died. He wasn't murdered. He didn't like get the death sentence. Like he didn't go to electric chair or anything. So she grabs a nearby ice pick and she stabs it into her neck. She is able to get her legs free.
Where the fuck are they getting an ice pick from?
This isn't tool. This is the toy box. Like they'll use like knives to cut people. You know,
So there's just like a freezer in there that they just keep.
no, it's just like a ice pick. Like it's
Not actual ice.
yeah, like the tool you use to like climb ice.
She smashed that into that bitch's neck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now Hindi actually didn't die from her wounds, but I mean she was bleeding pretty bad. Cindy Virgil was able to get her legs free, and then she was able to stagger out and run off. She runs off naked. She's butt ass naked, running through this trailer park. She is absolutely panicking, banging on lots of doors. No one's answering.
yeah, you have a naked person screaming at your door. I'd freak
Well,
the fuck
they're-
out and be like, "Go away!"
This is during the day, so everyone's at home or everyone's at work. So no one's at these trailer parks. She's going through every door, trying to open the door.
This is what, late '90s, early 2000s.
Um,
Well, like
1999.
Yeah.
Well, like I like to keep stuff like that in mind because I feel like people were definitely more neighborly back in the day. Where if you ran up to their door and you needed something, people were more likely to help you. Where as they got closer to modern day, you go to somebody's door and ask them for sugar, they're going to tell you to stick it in your ass and walk out.
Well, you also got to think that this is in Elephant Butte, New Mexico. Maybe a little over 3,000 people there, and it's in a trailer park in the fucking desert. So this is during the day. Obviously, David's at work. His
Is
park
he still
ranger
doing
job.
the hard drugs at this point?
David actually never did the drugs
Wow, I thought you said he did alcohol and drugs.
in his earlier life, but as of right now, I mean, sure, he probably drinks, but there's no documents of that he's doing hard drugs. I probably should have told you this. He didn't always kill the people in the toy box. When he was done with the victim, he would literally hardcore drug them to the point where he could brainwash them, and then he would just dump them on the side of the road somewhere.
So not all these girls died.
Not all these girls died, no.
Well, I guess that's a tiny, fucking sliver of light at the end of a very dark tunnel.
He did some kind of like hypnotizing work to where they totally forget that any of this ever happened to him. I mean, they'll wake up confused, bruised, hurting, probably bleeding, definitely bleeding. They just have no idea what happened to him due to how much drugs that he put into him.
What kind of drugs did he use, did it say?
It had some really big scientific word.
Fuck those words, man.
Yeah. It was
Keep
like,
it simple.
it was honestly really long. Like it was a fucking long word. Like it had at least like almost 30 letters in it. And I was like, ain't no fucking way I'm gonna try to pronounce this.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But he did drug
Is that
them
30
and then
letters? Fuck no.
Something.
he would drive pretty far away, obviously so they can't just stumble back. He would drug these people and like pretty much brainwash them, and then he would drive miles away and just dump their body on the side of the road. It's out in the middle of fucking nowhere too. No help, just naked, bruised, abused, bleeding. So yes, not all.
I mean, I don't even know if leaving them alive makes it any better. Like that, like they're gonna be so probably like fucked up mentally that there's like not much quality of life after that. I'd imagine. Like this is just fucking sickening.
it's pretty bad.
It,
Like,
it is interesting,
like-
but it is just outright the most
Honestly-
disgusting fucking thing I've ever heard.
honestly, I could have went into really more depth, and this probably could have been like a 2.5 hour long episode due to how much like information there was about all the raping and possibly murdering that he did in the toy box. But I just found kind of some of the sickening ones, and then kind of like the main details.
You don't
of it.
say.
Cindy Virgil, when she escaped, when I was talking about she was running around naked, she was bleeding, knocking on doors. She finds one door is unlocked. She just fucking blast in there. In this house was an old lady watching TV, and Cindy just falls on the floor after opening the door, totally beaten, bruised, abused, and the lady ends up calling the cops out of concern for Cindy. The lady does lock the door once Sydney's inside. Obviously, the lady knew that she was in distress.
Where's this bitch with the ice pick in her neck?
She's still in the toy box, probably.
Probably on the ground. I don't think you're just gonna get up with a hole.
She was able. Sydney was
I
a.
may have watched too many fucking horror movies. Okay, did you see the last Michael Myers or Halloween movie? They beat the shit out of that guy with a fucking bat. You had a whole mob just
Honestly,
jumping his
it
ass,
was.
and then he stands up at the end and just kills them all. Horse shit, dude.
Yes.
You'd have got cracked with that bat one time, and your ass would have been dead.
Going off that movie, I think the funniest part was when that lady was shooting that pistol at him in the vehicle, and Michael just kicks the fucking door, and the gun just fucking goes back and shoots her right in the head. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Doesn't he use a light as like a tube of light as a baseball bat or something on an old chick? Or he doesn't.
Oh yeah, fucking like one of those big ass light bulbs, like
super long.
Yeah,
super
like
long light bulb. Yeah, he just fucking
bulbs.
he just breaks it over the female's head and just shoves it right in her neck.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. So, anyways, once this lady called the cops,
That was a quick segue back in, dude. Holy shit.
David Parker Ray was arrested at his work, and his girlfriend, Sydney Lee Heddy, was apprehended at the home the same day on March 22nd of 1999.
He's used to cutting off our bullshit and just getting back into it. He's getting smooth with it.
So during questioning at the police station, they kept to the same story. Honestly, David Parker Ray and Sydney Lee Hedley definitely had this planned out for when and if they got caught, because their stories matched up perfectly. They said that Cynthia was a heroin addict and was trying to help her detox. She found a poor, Cynthia was also a prostitute, so that's how they kidnapped her, was the prostitution.
Yeah.
She actually David offered her $20 for a blowjob.
You know, I actually did a debate on the legalization of prostitution when I was in high school, and I fucking won.
For making it legal?
Yeah. Look, dude, you see what happened to this girl? That was like my whole argument. It's not legal to do these things in like more public places. I mean, when was the last time you ever heard like a fucking brothel having problems like that? I have a feeling you try to run off with a brothel's girl, they're going to beat the fuck out of you, probably to death. Where, I mean, if just a girl by herself goes into a back alley, fucking anything can happen. So, like, that was my whole argument on it. But I fucking won. Fuck yeah, baby.
So, yeah, they were claiming that Cynthia was just a heroin addict. Once police searched David's property, that's when they found the toy box and all the horror that was inside the toy box. Right then and there, they're done for. They ain't getting out of jail. Nothing's happening.
No, there's a fucking travesty in there.
So here's where kind of some of the investigation and the court trials kind of gets a little bumpy here. The bad thing is that the evidence that the prosecutors and the police had, they were worried that the charges wouldn't stick because of the problem that Cynthia credibility. She was known as a prostitute. The police noticed she was a prostitute. So there's no way to prove that she was there willingly, or that she wasn't there willingly.
Yeah, that she wasn't like taken there. Like
so
usual.
Here's where they also changed their story. They tried playing this off as some BDSM sex thing to where they were just embarrassed to talk about it at first. So at first they said that Cynthia was a drug addict, heroin addict, and then they changed their story.
You aren't going to own all that shit and be afraid to talk about sex. I don't own all that shit, and I'm not afraid to talk about sex.
So after the newspaper starts running the story about the couple's arrest, another victim comes forward named Angelica Monterio. She told the police that she has been kidnapped and raped and tortured by Ray and Hedney for 3 days, held against her will. She was drugged and left by the highway out in the desert. She was found by police. She told the police what happened to her, but they just seemed that her story was absurd and that she was making it all up. Well, now that story in the paper, when she saw that story in the paper, she decided to pursue it. So at first, when she told police what happened, they just thought she was making it up. There was no way that what she said and all the detail that she gave them actually happened. So
How do they fucking know?
Exactly. This is like poor police work in my opinion. Like when it comes to some serial killers, like when we get into it, you'll see that like maybe some police work is good, and then some police work is just really fucking bad.
Like everybody feels like it's going to be like CSI, and it's fucking not, man.
So a third person comes forward named Kelly Van Cleve. A woman from Arizona called the FBI right after she sees David Ray on the TV reports, and that her daughter-in-law. It seems like there's a lot that it was her daughter-in-law, but then now it's technically former daughter-in-law.
I was wondering why you rolled your eyes. I was like, what the hell?
So I put that in there. She's either like, at the time she was her daughter-in-law, but when she called, it was her former daughter-in-law. She disappeared for 3 nights and days back in 1996. Could this possibly be one of the rape victims that was on the list that I mentioned off earlier, somewhere in 1996? It didn't say the exact day, like what month she went missing.
They were reported to be like, what, 93 victims, you said?
93 to 97 victims. Jeanette Murphy was the mother of the stepdaughter that got kidnapped. She told the FBI the following story. This is where some more people that helped David Parker Ray comes into the story due to this lady right here.
Like the people in the trailer park and shit?
Yeah. So the story about a 22-year-old girl with a swan tattoo on her ankle, which is Kelly Van Cleef. The FBI have already went through David's videotapes with a variety of women being tortured on them. One of those women was being sexually tortured who had this tattoo of the swan on her ankle was Sydney. Or Kelly, my bad. Was Kelly. This is actually how they found a lot of their victims was from the tapes. So when I was talking about how they were getting brainwashed.
And a lot of these people were still alive?
Yeah, a lot of these people were still alive, but they were brainwashed so well that they just totally forgot what even happened. But that's how they found a lot of them. So the FBI contacted Kelly to get her story, but she hardly remembered a thing due to being drugged up. Everything came back to her once the FBI showed her the tape. That's how they pretty much undid the brainwashing. She says that she knew a guy named Roy Yatesy. This is also a guy that helped David kill people. So when I was talking about David's satanic cult, Roy Yatesy was like, boy oh boy did this guy fucking praise David Parker Ray. To get initiated in this cult, he was told to strangle his girlfriend at the time while David watched.
And he fucking did it.
And he fucking did it.
And he did it.
Where do you find this fucking shit, man? Holy hell.
I searched wide and far on the internet.
Oh my god.
I'm talking about, like, it's not just on, like, you know, you type in something on Google, you get the first page popping up.
It's not
I'm going to,
Wikipedia.
like, page, like, 12, 14th, all the way back, doing deep dive research on this stuff. Roy Yancey, he knew David. Obviously, I said that he was in the satanic group. So David was the leader of the satanic group. Here's where it starts to get pretty twisted again. So Kelly also knew David's daughter.
When did it get untwisted?
Well, I mean, he got arrested, so, you know, kind of like ease it down a little bit. But
I'll give it to you.
so Kelly knew David's daughter, Glenda Ray. She told the FBI that Glenda, who went by the name Jessie, I don't know if she changed her name. A lot of it, they just call her Jessie. A lot of it is just what they call her. They don't say Glenda. It's just Jessie. Most of the stuff that I looked
It's an
up.
old woman name.
What, Jesse or Glenda?
Glenda.
So
I've never met a Glenda.
yeah, I've never met a Glenda either.
And if you did, they'd be fucking 100.
Probably
They were born wrinkly.
born wrinkly.
Apologies to anyone with that name listening.
So Glenda went by the name Jessie, and she was Elephant Butte's or Truth and Consequences' main drug dealer. Yes, that's the town in Mexico, Truth and Consequences. It's named after a game show.
Why?
That's the only thing that ever came out of there was Truth. I think it was like Jeopardy. Don't quote me on that. Maybe not.
I done quoted you.
You've been quoted.
You've already been quoted.
Um,
It's fucking in there now. What I got from that was Jeopardy is a game show for serial killers.
The worst kind of people.
Yeah, the fucking smart kind. You know how fucking hard Jeopardy is, Mason? You ever like sat down and actually tried it?
I played it like
You get a
David
goddamn
Buster's.
aneurysm.
okay, so it wasn't a game show. Well, it was a game show, but the original name for Truth or Consequences was called Hot Springs. But they changed it to Truth or Consequences. It's credited by a guy named Ralph Edwards, who hosted a radio quiz program on the NBC radio named Truth or Consequences in March of 1950.
NBC,
Yeah.
National Broadcasting Channel, correct? I just wanted to make sure.
So
You don't like acronyms or something, Mason?
I'm just gonna call it Glinda by Jesse because that's
That's gonna fuck me up.
just what they go by. Okay, in the court they even call her by Jesse.
All right, we'll go with Jesse.
So Jesse was the main drug dealer in Elephant Butte, or Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Later that night, Jesse
Linda.
Linda
or
going crazy.
yeah. Jesse said that she'd take me home. She drives a big motorcycle. She always loved letting people hitch a ride. With her, she said she wanted to get a drink of coffee first. So we get on her big motorcycle. Instead of taking me home, she drove me over to her dad's trailer. Inside, I sat down on the couch while Jesse or her dad went into the back room, and they came out and sat down beside me. One of them or the other kneeled at my feet. I couldn't remember which one did. But what I do remember is that one held a knife to my throat, and the other used duct tape to cover my eyes and mouth. And then that's when I assume David Parker Ray took her to the toy box to rape her for 3 days before he dumped her on the side of the road.
I'm like finding like somewhat solace that he did not kill everyone. Which, I mean, the shit he did was just still inhuman, but like hopefully with all the drugs and everything that he did, and you said he would like hypnotize them, hopefully they would be able to maybe go back to maybe somewhat of a normal life as much as they could.
Here's where it's gonna get dark again. I'm gonna tell you.
Maybe they get lights.
I'm gonna tell you a little something about Glinda or Jessie, whatever you want to call her.
Linda.
So when she was 19 years old, she tried to let the FBI know what her dad was up to way back in 1986, and this is 1999. So this is long before she started being a drug dealer. There's many reports that David Parker Ray molested Jessie or Glinda. She was actually, there's a lot of reports saying that she was actually one of the victims in the toy box, and he impregnated her. And
This fucking douchebag has spawn.
with his own daughter.
This is when the inbreeding comes in, huh?
I just wanted to point that out there. The FBI didn't follow up on Jesse's report due to just how outlandish it was. Like I said, man, poor investigating on police work here.
So if you have a crazy story, don't go to the police. Pretty much.
All they have to do is look at that dungeon to see something's not right with these fucking people.
So far in court,
You're telling me if you seen this fucking dungeon and they're like, I didn't do it, I'd look them straight in their face and be like, no, you fucking did it, man. Look at this goddamn dump.
in court so far, David has confessed to killing about 14 people. That's what we know of so far. So now that all this is kind of coming to an end, Cindy Hetty would be sentenced to 36 years in prison. It was agreed to a plea deal bargain where she testified against Ray during his trials. She is currently up for parole and could be released. So she could actually be released. When I was doing this research, this was like when this said she would be up in parole in 2021, so last year. I didn't do any further research whether she was out or not. This is the part where I was trying to finish before we started today.
Word up, dude.
So what I think is that she's probably still in jail.
It's a wonder she's not been fucking brutalized in there. From my understanding, that shit's not taken so lightly in prison.
She is a free person. She is now living in Hamilton after serving 18 years in New Mexico for her involvement.
The fuck is Hamilton?
I assume in New Mexico.
So she was sentenced to 36, but only served 18.
Void
Due
Bros
to- due to-
podcast does not go to New Mexico.
Due to the plea bargain that she did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hamilton is in Montana. So she moved far away from New Mexico
Okay, so-
into Montana.
Void Bros are cool to go to New Mexico, just not Montana. Not with
Or
that
we go to
crazy
Montana
fucking bitch on the
interviewer.
loose. What?
Go to Montana interviewer.
You can fucking go, Mason.
So
I will stay right here.
So-
We can do
we'll
that
Skype
shit
or
over
something.
Discord.
With
Yeah.
a video chat on Discord.
So Roy Yancey, the guy who help lure victims to David Parker Ray. He received two 15-year sentences for second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. He was released after only serving 11 years. He returned to custody in 2021 after violating his parole. So he got out too, but now he's back in jail for violating his parole.
Fucking dumbass.
Jesse or Glenda Ray was found guilty of kidnapping women for sexual torture and was sentenced to 9 years in prison, which would be served out of prison on parole. She's a free woman walking the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico today.
Never mind, we're not going to New Mexico. Fuck.
She also likes to tell anybody that her dad was innocent, that he didn't do any of this.
Is she fucking stupid?
Just a loyal daughter.
Loyal my fucking ass, dude. You tell me, like, if your dad did some shit like that, or your mom, you'd be like, you just cool with it? Hell no. I tell my mom, you're a fucking freak.
So, David Parker Ray, the toy box killer, agreed to a plea deal.
I would too. Don't give a flying fuck, dude.
He would agree to a plea deal that will serve 224 years of all kinds of sexual torture, rape, and kidnapping charges against the toy box killer. He was actually never charged with the murder.
David?
Yep, never charged with the murder.
Like
David
with
Parker
any
Ray?
murders.
That name I 100% could not remember or say in the last one. Are you proud of me that I finally got his fucking name down at the end of this podcast?
Yeah, proud of you.
Thanks.
So yeah, he was actually charged with never murdering anybody, but he confessed to 14 of them.
That makes
How
sense.
the fuck does that work, dude?
Makes sense to me.
Oh, I'll tell you here in a minute. Once I get to the end of what happened here, we'll talk about some
They
stuff.
just think he was nuts. He's like, I killed these 14
So-
people, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
So then on May 28th of 2002, he dies sitting in his jail cell due to a heart attack.
Thank fucking God. As awful as that is to say, that this guy was terrible.
He was 62 years old, and supposedly he had just agreed to talk to investigators about some missing bodies and other crimes that he was involved in investigations who worked with this case. Were convinced that he did kill a lot of the women that they watched torture. So unfortunately, he did write their names down on in various journals and diaries. They couldn't release any footage to the public due to the extreme graphic of sexual nature. Here's where we can talk about why some of the bodies were never found. There was an interview with a guy that said David would hire a delivery guy to bring him loads and loads of concrete. This is in the mid to late 90s in Elephant Butte State Park. He uses concrete to fill large truck tires that could definitely hide a body. The truck driver could never get out of the truck. So the truck driver could never inspect what was in the tires. So there's a high probability that the tires they filled with concretes did have bodies in them. And what David said that he was using these tires full of concrete for was to hold down a, what the fuck do they call it? The boat dock at a marina or a pier at a marina.
Okay.
Just
So-
like the dock over the water.
Yeah. There's reports that he really knew how to hide a dead body in water with the decomposition of the body in the water. So there could be bodies in Elephant Butte Lake, where the state park's at, in giant concrete tires. As of what I've known, so far, I don't think any bodies have been found.
So he's admitted to killing 14 people, but no bodies have been found.
Nope. He also mentioned that some of the bodies that some of the people they murdered, the bodies would be hidden on roads that were set to get paved. So, like before they pave roads, they like dig it up, flatten out.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Kind of becomes like a gravel road for a little bit.
yeah. So he supposedly hid bodies under roads that people drive on today. Yeah, and that pretty much takes us to the end of the story of the toy box killer, David Parker Ray.
Holy shit, Connor.
I feel like I didn't say much, but I just didn't know what to say.
Oh my god, yeah, like I had to like tiptoe around this shit. Jesus.
Yeah, some jokes probably wasn't a pretty funny podcast. It was pretty serious.
Yeah, I would say so. That was filthy.
Pretty violent. Like I said, it's he's definitely one of the darker, more violent serial killers. If you want, you can look up more research about him just to get a little more detail of what actually he did to the victims.
I'm good.
This guy, from my understanding, like the way he describes this shit, he paints too good of a picture, Connor. Like reading this guy's words are just
So
my brain's like, what the fuck, dude?
I mean, you've seen a picture of him.
Goofy looking fucker.
So he
Goofy
supposedly
looking.
started killing from as early as age 14, all the way up to when he died in jail.
Yeah, you would too if you look like fucking Mr. Rogers with a mustache.
From being abused and possibly raped when he was a child. Could that have done something to his brain to psychologically think that all sex should be like that?
I feel like everyone kind of has like a different viewpoint on that stuff. Like me, like when shit happens to me that I don't like, I try to make sure that I don't do that to anyone else.
Yeah, but you gotta think from all this stuff that he went through as a child, you gotta think like maybe that's all he really knew. But he just took it to a fucking. He took that notch and just fucking turned it.
Yeah, that's
Way
really
up.
really traumatic stuff too.
Like it went from getting bad to extremely fucking worse in a matter of years. So it's hard telling what or how many people he killed prior to making the toy box. Because I'm going to assume that the toy box definitely took him a long time to build, since he built pretty much everything in there.
Well, I mean, if he had like this satanic cult, I mean, he could have had them doing shit too.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was people that helped him murder people. And
Oh, I'm talking about like build the toy box.
no, yeah. I'm sure Roy Yatesy had more of an involvement than what he told police.
Yeah, most likely. He did what, 11 years?
He served 15 years, but he was released after only serving 11 years. Yeah.
Look at the fucking big brain on me, Mason.
I mean, his girlfriend definitely had a big role in it too.
Yeah, creepy fucking bitch.
Yeah, she was definitely helping with doing the rape and kidnapping and drugging.
Could you imagine if a girl tried to get you to do that? What the
What, drug someone?
What we just read?
All of it?
Yeah.
I think the part that really just makes me sick was the fact that he lets his dogs.
Yeah, once you said dogs, I was kind of like, shit.
It's gonna be a long one.
I thought inbreeding was bad. Like,
A lot of rumors that he did have a child with his daughter. So yeah, that is the whole story, or not the whole story, but a pretty summed up graphic story of just a little bit of David Parker Ray's life as the toy box killer.
truly disgusting. Just a nasty fucking person.
You have any final says of or thoughts?
Other than he's just terrible. Or was
I mean, yeah,
terrible and
he's-
disgusting.
I mean, what else can you fucking say about this guy?
He's definitely a character. He's not a good guy.
That's fucking nice. He's a goddamn monster. An atrocious human being. And that's like my whole thought on it. That's just
It's definitely a
it's like some of the nastiest shit I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
a very violent guy.
Would never think anyone in like recorded history would ever do some nasty shit like that.
Yep, and there is plenty more like him to come.
Fucking perfect. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in. You might want to go take a shower and wash the fucking filth that we just laid down on you. And next week, get ready to get fucking frigid because we're going to Antarctica. Have fun.